Hello, Caitlin here from Enso Theater Ensemble, and for today's Monday Mindfulness, I'd like to share with you a self-talk practice. And you can use this whenever you're experiencing negative self-talk or maybe a mental habit that is unkind. So first, let's talk about what self-talk is. So I like to think of self-talk as any commentary that's happening in your brain on whatever you're doing in the present moment. So it could be good, it could be bad, but it's just commentating on it. And your self-talk can be unintentional, meaning it feels like thoughts just arise and then there they are. But your self-talk can also be intentional, meaning you're deciding what to say and you're deciding to say it for a particular reason. So the way this self-talk practice works is, let's say I'm going to an audition, which it just so happens that in real life, I am actually about to head to an audition. And let's say that as I'm heading to this audition, I am having some negative self-talk. And my negative self-talk is saying, oh my goodness, you're so worthless. And why are you even going? And they don't even, you don't have anything to offer them. And what is the point of even going? And so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to name this voice. So for me, this is my imposter syndrome voice, and I'm going to name him Steve. And I don't like that Steve is here, but I am acknowledging that Steve is in the room. Hi, Steve. I see you're in the room. Friggin' Steve. And so in naming that voice, what I'm doing is I am distinguishing this thought from who I am. So you are not your thoughts. We have millions of thoughts every day, and they do not identify who we are. Only you get to decide who you are as a person. So in naming Steve, I'm saying, I see that you're present, but I don't have to make you part of me. You don't have to define who I am. And in that act of naming Steve, I've granted myself this little chunk of time where I get to decide, what do I want to do with Steve? Do I want to grab onto Steve and maybe listen to what he's saying? And maybe see, is there some validity in what he's saying? Is there something useful that I can get out of this negative self-talk? Or do I want to let Steve go? Maybe Steve is not what I need in this particular moment. So I've named Steve, I've created this gap. The second part of this self-talk practice, this self-talk practice is your response. So now I'm going to figure out, what is my response to this voice? What is the intentional self-talk that I can practice that is going to let this self-talk maybe breathe and let go for a little bit? And so in this particular moment, I like to come up with an unconditional loving response. So this is a statement that no matter what is loving without any strings attached. So maybe I could say something like, hey, this audition has nothing to do with your validity as an artist. This audition is just an opportunity for you to do something that you love, which is to perform. And in responding in that way, maybe Steve starts to calm down, or maybe not. Maybe I have to repeat it a couple of times, right? Again, this is a practice. It's not a quick fix, right? But what I am doing with this response is I am literally rewiring my brain. So our mental habits and our thoughts create neural pathways in our brain. And the more we practice that mental habit, the wider that neural pathway becomes, and it becomes easier and easier to think in that particular way. So recarving that neural pathway can take time and it can be really hard. But in doing so, the more you practice this new method of thinking, the easier it becomes over time. And actually, this is proven by science, and I will put a link below to a video that talks a little bit more about this. So far in our practice, I've named my self-talk. I've responded to it. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to redirect. So whatever I was doing in the moment that the self-talk arose, I'm now going to just go do something different. So maybe I was working and now I'm going to go get a glass of water, or I'm going to take a walk, or I'm going to go feed the dog. Whatever it is, just some small physical action. So I'm tying the change of my thoughts to a physical change in my body in what I'm doing in that moment. So I hope that was useful. I hope there was maybe there was a gold nugget in there that you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna steal that and use that for next time. Let me know if you do try this self-talk practice, if you come up against any hurdles, or if there's something that really works for you. I would love to know in the comments below. And have a lovely rest of your Mindful Monday. Thank you so much.